All right, Tim, I think we're ready to go, Tim. Just remind everybody to make sure that they answer yes or no if you call for a vote, so because we're really not all here to see everybody. So, all right.
Okay. Thank you. So I'd like to call the Michigan Sanitary District Commissioner Board and September 2020 at 4 p.m. in order. And I'd like to ask for a roll call, please, since we're on phone. So, and I would get each of the commissioners to let me know that they're on the call, please. Hope is here. Thank you. Thank you. Jeff Wright is here. Jeff. And Tim Smith. So I know that Gary is unable to make the call today, so we'll just move ahead with the meeting. So I'd like to ask for approval of the regular board meeting minutes from Wednesday, August 25th, 2020. Is there a motion, please?
This Frank, I'd like to motion for.
Second?
This is Jeff, I'll second.
Thank you. All in favor? Motion passes. I'd also like to ask for a approval of the executive session minutes from September 2nd, 2020. Can I get a motion, please?
Motion to approve.
Yeah. Is there a second?
I'll second, Frank.
Thank you, Frank. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. I'd like to ask now if there's any public comment. Any public comment? Any public comment? Seeing that there's no public comment, we'll go to item 5. Mike, opening of the quotes and bids or proposals of U.S. Highway 20 and Pine Tree Drive. I'm going to turn it over to you.
Okay, thank you, sir. We received 3 quotes. The first one is from Woodruff & Sons here in Michigan City, Indiana. I'm missing my favorite attorney over here to help me read these, so you'll have to bear with me. I'll do the best I can. First, I got to get it open. Request for quotes. The quote amount for Woodruff & Sons is $259,476.88. The next quote we received was from Gatlin Plumbing and Heating, and I guess I don't see where their address is on here, on the cover anyways. I think they're from Griffith, that's what I thought. But Gatlin Plumbing and Heating is $195,000 for the standard 2-year warranty, and $215,000 for the 5-year warranty. I might add that Woodruff & Sons did not put a quote in for the 5-year warranty. And then the last one we received this one via email. I put it in this package. It's from HRP in South Bend, Indiana. And their quote was for the standard 2-year warranty, $225,000. And for the 5-year warranty was $229,500. And I'd like to ask if someone could make a motion for us to review these quotes with the staff and come back to the board with a recommendation at our next meeting.
Is there a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Thanks, Michael.
You're very welcome.
Mike, I know there's a couple other things on the agenda that we need to discuss, so I'm wondering if we could do Scott's financial report, and then we can get Dan on, and then also talk about a couple of the other items before Jim's attorney report.
Oh, you want to do them before Jim? I was going to do them under new business, but that's fine, sure.
No, we can do them under new business if you want, that's fine. So why don't we just have Scott go through the cash balances and the financial reports, please.
Good afternoon. I'll start by reading the cash balances as of August 31st, 2020. The operating fund had $1,365,229.95. The operating municipal had $750.99. The improvement fund had $842,895.03. Vehicle replacement at $45,599.76. And the equipment replacement fund had $514,726.41. And the operating grant fund had $0, for a total in that bank account of $2,769,202.14. The Indian Springs project had a balance of $15,821.49, and the Whippoorwill project had $679.21, for a total in that bank account of $16,500.70. The SRF debt reserve had a balance of $499,536.33, and the SRF bond and interest at $51,949.46, for a total at the Bank of New York or BNY Mellon of $551,485.79. The stormwater fund had $561,722.78. The refuse municipal account had $628.62. The refuse account had $1,163,211.58. The special revenue had $13,646.34. The levy excess had a balance of $8,522.14. The tax levy grant fund had $78,684.76. And the rainy day fund had a balance of $0, for a total in that bank account of $1,826,416.22. The Carwick remediation has a balance of $387,823.73, for a total cash balance of $5,551,428.58. Just a few comments, and then I'll take any questions. We made the lease payments, as you can see, in loan payments. They come due, and we pay those in February and August. The other thing, they held back 20% of the spring tax settlement. We actually got that 20% in August. So overall, our cash position remains good. Two things. The amount of proceeds we're bringing in is pretty much in line with what we brought in last year so far, which is good news.
For the operating fund.
You know, the COVID.
Yeah.
Well, for the operating and for the tax levy, it's even a little higher too.
Okay.
So overall, we're in good shape. I mean, it's about where we're still a little, under on the operating from where our consultants would tell us they'd like us to be, but we're getting closer. So overall, we're in pretty good shape. I mean, the big decrease was all the money that was spent on the Carwick remediation, which, was outside of normal operating. So I'll take any questions.
This is Holt. Just one comment that's on the cash balances report here that we get. It's nice that it's you're putting over the notes now, the lease payments and the SRF loan payments and grant receipts. That's nice, thank you.
Yeah, I should have put that we got, that other 20% on the stormwater and refuse. So, yeah, I'll try to put something in that column for the major things. So, thanks.
Great, thank you.
Great. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, and then, the next thing is, I put in the budget performance reports for the operating fund, the stormwater fund, and the refuse fund. And you can see we're doing well to budget. I mean, we're in line on pretty much all items. The only item that is a little over budget would be on the operating fund. The sewer and drains. We spent some money on some sewer projects this year, and that thing's always hard to budget because you don't know what's gonna need to be replaced. So we're a little over on that line item, but we're under on equipment and the other line items. So overall in that category, we're okay, but we are a little bit higher than when I budgeted it, based on previous years. We're a little bit more this year. So that's the only comment on any of those. And again, I'll field any questions.
Any questions from any of the commissioners? No. Thanks, Scott.
Okay. And then the last thing, I have the budgets for stormwater and refuse in the packet. These worksheets are the same ones that I gave the board last month. And I just wanted the board to know that there's 4 steps to the budget process for these two funds. The first step is we prepare the funds, and then the controller's office reviews the funds, which they've done, and they had no issue with these budgets. And then it goes to the mayor, and now the city is reviewing these budgets for council. And on October 6th, there's a public hearing to go through all the budgets that relate to property taxes, of which these two will be included. We really haven't got any questions on the budget in the past because it's pretty consistent year on year. Hopefully you guys have had the chance to look at it. And I would ask for the board to approve this. On October 6th, like I said, there will be a public hearing, and that's when historically the council's approved the budget. So I would just ask for approval of this budget, or I can field any questions.
Hey Scott, this is Jeffrey. I have a question. I'm kind of new to the budget cycle for the city, that kind of thing. And I'm wondering about the stormwater fund. I know that there's a group of guys at the sanitary district that get together and they tackle these, I don't know, for lack of a better term, nuisance kind of projects. It's a real service to the public. Is there money available to make sure those guys are funded?
Yeah, what happens is we use the collection department to do that work. And if you look at this budget worksheet, we budget that salary and wages line in stormwater. It's $245,944. Well, I'm sorry. This year's budget was $247,848. What happens is we reimburse the collections department for doing that work. So what happens is the stormwater gets funded, and then they send the money back to the operating fund to pay for the collections guys doing all this work. So that's how we've done it for since I've been here.
And we also have, if you look at the budget, repairs and maintenance of equipment and repairs of maintenance sewer/drains. We have, how much do you got budgeted for that? $150,000?
Yeah, this year I had 200. Next year I believe 150,000.
Yeah.
Is that
about what we typically spend? Somewhere between $150,000 and $200,000.
Yeah, so far this year we've spent.
You know the project type I'm talking about that they do. You know the dry well.
Yeah, dry well, and that's kind of why that's all included. They also do all the like the ditch maintenance. We have somebody that's mowing the ditches and cleaning up the ditches. I have a list of. We actually go through a process of identifying the employees from collection and estimating their time they're going to spend in like stormwater activities, and then that's what we transfer back to pay for the collections guys.
But I think
if you want to stop by, I think
you're asking, but Jeff, are you asking more about actual money for actually doing the repair work itself, buying the pipe and installing the pipe, that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I know they've taken on some projects with dry well and some piping and some under drain. But there's patching, that sometimes that gets into some asphalt patching a little bit, that kind of thing. I didn't know if there was money. I just don't know how that money.
Well, it's in section 15, and if you go down, I think near the bottom, it's 8200043.060 repairs and maintenance sewer/drains. Do you see that?
I'm afraid I don't, but I'll have to believe.
Well, he has
I didn't actually get a link to the document.
He has $150,000 budgeted next year for that type of work. Not including the salaries and different things, just actual repair work.
Right.
So that's the material. That's the material that they would purchase for.
Yes.
Well, it could be both too. If we contracted out a project, it could be materials and labor. But
Well, I don't want to hijack the meeting on it. I just wanted to make sure that there was some money available for them to proceed, because I perceive that as a real service to the city.
yeah, we have 30,000.
I'm sorry, what's that?
I'm sorry, Mike. Scott, is that generally what we have in that line item for repairs and buying the materials? I mean, is it ever go over that generally?
Yeah, last year was 200,000.
Pretty much.
Well, the way the whole budget works is that category. You got 4 major categories of budget items, and what I try to do is make sure that, it's hard to tell which of the line items within those 4 major categories, may go over or come under. So I try to make sure the 4 categories all have sufficient funds in case one goes over and one comes under. Because one of those categories goes over, these 2 funds, we would have to go to the council and ask for their permission to spend the money. So, it's just, they're called major transfers. So you have to transfer money from one of the other categories into that. So what we've done historically is try to make sure that, it's hard to be exact, because you don't know what's going to break down in the year. So we try to make sure there's enough money in each of those 4 major categories to cover what's going to be required.
Mr. Smith, this is Mike. Mr. Smith, this is Michael. To answer your question, like in that category, last year we had $30,000 for professional services for engineering. This year we have 30. Last year we had $110,000 for professional services other, and this year we only have 70. And last year we had $200,000 for repairs and maintenance. This year we lowered it down to 150. So it's a little bit lower overall. The overall category last year was $370,000. This year it's $280,000. So it is a little lower this year. That's what we budgeted, a little lower, but we moved some money around to some of the other categories, like for the reasons Scott was mentioning. Okay?
And I tried to update it based on what the previous year, what happened. So that's why it's a little lower this year. So.
Understood. Thank you.
Yeah, okay.
Any other questions for me, Chris? Scott, you want us to go ahead and I'm looking for a motion to approve the 2021 budget for stormwater and refuge, correct?
Yes, please.
This Frank, I'll make motion for.
Thank you, Frank. The second, please.
This is Holt, I'll second it.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Passes. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, well, thank you.
Really appreciate it. Any Scott from you?
No, unless anybody has any other questions.
Okay. Next, hey Jim.
Jim, you should have a separate vote for the vet
I was
refuge.
just gonna say that. They combined them together, Jim.
Great. Thanks, Jim, for that, keeping me in check. Can I, let's go for a motion to approve 2021 rep fund budget, please.
Frank, so moved.
Second,
I'll second Frank.
please, thank you.
I'll second if you need another one.
Thanks. All in favor? Aye. Approved the 2021 budget for the refuge fund. So Jim, now you're on.
Okay. The only thing is, we finally received the deed from GAF, or their mother company, for the property out at Cheney Run that they're donating to us. And of course that deed, A, has to be accepted by the board, and then B, will have to be recorded and, typical. The other things we're going to be doing is, in order to avoid confusion and redundancy, once the deed gets recorded, we're going to merge the parcels on the west side of Sparrow Creek, which will include this parcel, into one parcel. So this, Cheney Run, so to speak, will be one parcel. We found out during this whole escapade with the GAF that there's some confusion arising from as to who owns what, whose name is on what, and things like that. But anyway, so I would just ask that the board vote to approve accepting the quitclaim deed for the GAF Cheney Run property. If there's any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Motion to approve.
Sorry, was there any questions from any of the commissioners?
No, this is Holt, I'll second it.
Great. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you. Jim, anything else?
No, I'll answer any questions anybody has them, but I have nothing else.
Okay. Next on the agenda is the approval and allowance of the revenue and tax levy claims for payment. Can I get a motion to approve the tax levy claims for payment, please?
This is Holt, I'll make a motion.
That's Frank, I'll second.
Thanks, Frank. Thanks, Holt. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes to pay claims. Is there any old business? Any old business? Two, if there's none, I'm looking, Mike, I know you have 2 or 3 items under new business, so I'm going to hand the agenda over to you at this point.
Okay, thank you, sir. The first thing we had was Dan McCoy might want to give a little update on the safety, on his safety report for this month. I can share it with everybody. but maybe he could talk for just a couple of minutes if you could keep it brief on that. And then he has a meeting that he had today with refuse, and I think he'd like to say a few things about that. Is that okay, Dan?
Yes, can everyone hear me?
Yes. Welcome, Dan.
Today, I need to report that a refuse department employee who was injured at shoulder wounds needed to have surgery last week. The employee was on restricted work activities, driving a refuse truck all the while he was receiving physical therapy until last week. There wasn't any improvement in his condition, so now he had to have surgery on his shoulder. He'll be off work until a physician releases him back to restricted work activities and then back to normal work activities. So this he was injured on June 18 while he was lifting a container of grass clippings into the compost truck. Also in June, during that same time, I was asked by Mr. Cuss to investigate injury causation and other issues with grass pickup. And so I submitted a report to Mr. Cuss and also to the board with recommendations the following month. And I know Mr. Cuss is working on several options to reduce injuries in the refuse department. He may speak about that in a little bit. But one thing I wanted to do as a result of my meeting today to bring forward that I'm pleased to point out that most residents are now using 32-gallon containers for grass clippings. Earlier in the summer, there were many different sizes and capacity containers that were being used. Now through our communication to residents, most all are using the 32-gallon containers or less for grass clippings. This is pretty significant. People were using, residents were using 45-gallon, very heavy containers when filled with grass. We still have some issues we need to address, and this is what I learned today. Sometimes containers will have trash, rocks, bricks, road sweepings, construction debris mixed in with the grass clippings. We know from an environmental standpoint and obviously from a safety standpoint that that's not good. And I've recommended to those employees that if they note that they leave the container and report the issue to the refuse department inspector for resolution. Also, I've recommended to the employees that if they try to move the container and it's very heavy, that it probably contains more than grass and small twigs. And again, I suggest to leave the container if it's too heavy. Another finding is that we have one particular 32-gallon container. It's made by the Toter Corporation. It's a Toter brand. And this particular toter is available out in the big box stores in our area. And it's purchased by just a few homeowners. But this particular toter is much heavier than some of the others that we see out there. In fact, the Rubbermaid brand that we compare it to weighs 10 pounds, and this particular container, the Toter brand, weighs 22 pounds empty. And so what this toter is designed for, it's really suited for collection trucks with lifters, or the lifters. And so it's really not well suited for the manual handling and dumping of grass clippings. It's really awkward to lift, even with 2 employees. It's very heavy many times. And so, what we want to do is we need to get information out to property owners, or the city, the residents in the city, that there are certain types of containers that are better than others, for the manual handling of materials. And we really need to cover this information in our website, and to really upgrade our website regarding compost and grass clippings. And we really need to provide some detailed guidance that includes acceptable equipment and property owner practices. And that way, when, chances are we'll have very high compliance with that. But then for those individuals that choose not to comply, we would like to have revisions to our policy that we have posted on our website so that we have something that the inspector may be able to use as showing that we do have a policy and that the homeowner is not following that policy. And so what I'm requesting is that the board approve us to upgrade the policy, to make improvements to that policy, listing these acceptable equipment and practices that homeowners should use for this. We continue to have a number of injuries, strains and sprain type injuries related to manual handling of grass clippings. And this year we have one, but in previous years we have had others. And this year it's a very serious injury that requires surgery and time off from work. And so what we're trying to do is we're trying to come up as best we can with the nature of the work that we do, with methods that protect our employees while they're working on the job. And so my request is that I'm seeking approval, upgrade this policy that we have on our website, and hopefully we'll be able to do that. And Michael, do you have anything to add to that, sir?
Yeah, a couple things to add. Dan, what we'll do is we will just draft a new policy, and then we'll bring it to the board for their approval. Okay. I think that.
Okay, good.
I think that I'd just like to clarify that just a little bit, is that there's a city ordinance that requires that they be no more than 32-gallon containers. I don't believe there's a lot of description about what type of container, this and that. And what we would like to do is instead of going back and trying to redo the ordinance per se, we would just come up with a sanitary district policy that's in compliance with the ordinance, 32-gallon container, and then we would specify some minimum requirements that would meet our specifications for what the homeowners could use. So that's the first thing. So I think that I don't think the board, you guys wouldn't have any problem if we just come up with a draft policy and bring it to you, at the next meeting or November meeting or anything. I don't see a problem there. Do you, Mr. Smith?
No, I do not. That would be great, Mike.
Okay.
Thank you.
We'll try to do that. Of course, we'll work with our attorney, Mr. Meyer, on that policy also. And I know Dan mentioned the Rubbermaid brand. We find that to be a pretty good brand name, and also something that's you can find easily, and it meets our specifications. What we probably would do is maybe specify that as a possible option, or something that is like similar like material meets our specifications. Like, I know I talked with Mr. Meyer about this a little bit today. Dan said that weighs 10 pounds, weighs 10 pounds or less, something along those lines. Empty, 10 pounds or less empty.
Right.
So that's.
This is Joe. Doesn't OSHA specify the maximum weight people can pick up?
No, sir.
No, I don't think so.
No, they specify that. Typically in our industry and refuse,
100 pounds. We have 100 pounds in the. We have 100 pounds in the job descriptions, Dan. Pretty sure.
Yeah. OSHA does not specify that at all.
Okay.
They you need to evaluate the job for ergonomic considerations and design the job to prevent injury.
But Jeff,
So that's based for injury.
Jeff, as you know too, it's not really just the weight; it's the awkwardness of the structure you're trying to pick up or the item you're trying to pick up and how cumbersome it is. And that's what our men are telling me about these 32-gallon toter brands. Yeah, they're 32-gallon. First of all, they weigh 22 pounds empty, but the other thing is there's really no handles or anything on to really pick them up. And it just makes it difficult, you know. That's the problem. They're not designed with handles. They're designed to be, you know, put into the truck with one of those lifter mechanisms like we have for the refuse. So
I see.
yeah, so that's part of the problem. So then one other
I
thing.
don't want to hijack the meeting on it, but the policy sounds like the right thing. To see a new policy
Okay, and then
or an updated.
one thing we might include in that policy, or we likely will include in that policy, is we've got some homeowners throughout the city that since we kind of buckled down on this 32-gallon container and we send out some notes and put it on our website and so forth, they had gone out and bought the 32-gallon toter containers, in the spirit of what we were looking for them to do. So we might put something in this policy about switching out with those homeowners where we would purchase them one or two of these Rubbermaid units or similar like units to replace what they bought with their own money. That really is too hard and awkward for us to pick up. So I just want you to be ready for that if we put that into the policy, okay? And then one last thing on that, I've also reached out to Glenn Linhart from Best Equipment, who's our sole source vendor for the toters that we purchase for the refuse, for the garbage. And I asked him to give me a quote for, I think I asked for 10,000 toters, 32-gallon toters, toter brand that we could use for yard waste, and then we could equip the garbage truck with the lifters, and we could put these toters out everywhere in the city, give them to all the residents in the city like we do for the refuse. One of the main drawbacks there, for instance, our 96-gallon toters are $55 or almost $56 a piece. I don't have a price from him yet. I know Dan was in my office yesterday or today, and we called him to find out. Or yesterday, wrote him an email. Today, I called him, and he hasn't received a price yet from the toter manufacturer on the 32-gallon toters yet. But just off the cuff number, if they're $40 a piece, you're looking at $400,000 to buy these toters for everyone in the city if we get 10,000 of them. So obviously that would be something we'd have to figure a way how to pay for, and so that might not even be reasonable. And so far it's gone pretty well with people using their own containers. So that's the update that I have there on the safety and on the toters. And one last thing I wanted to say, and Dan, I don't know if I'm stealing your thunder or not, but as you guys know, Dan has found us this online civility training, which I completed, and I find to be actually pretty good training overall. And Dan's working with the sanitary district as a whole, but specifically also the refuse department, because those jobs, they're out in the field 100% of the time. They don't really have computers, so we're gonna get a couple computers set up for everyone in the refuse department, and certainly probably the collections department could use them also to make sure that they have the ample time and equipment to complete this civility training. Where are we at now, Dan? Like over what, 50-60% of the people have done the training so far?
Yeah, the sanitary district, it's over 60%.
Okay.
And with refuse, it's about 40%.
Okay, so we're making some pretty good progress.
We're round with refuse over the next 3 or 4 days.
We'd asked everyone to have it completed by the September 30th, which, isn't a hard, fast deadline, just to have some date to strive for. We might meet that 100%, and if not, I'm sure it'll be, first week October or so, but that's moving along pretty good. And like I said, the training that Dan found really was valuable. It was really pretty good.
Just to add to that, the board members would like to go through the training. I found it to be very interesting, so I'd be happy to sign you up for that. Just let me know.
I was just going to say that, Dad. That's good. Good point. Do any of the board members like to get signed up for this online civility training so that you could look at what we're looking at?
Yeah, this is Tim Smith. I would.
Why don't we just sign?
Why
Why don't we just sign all the board members up, Dan, and also Attorney Meyer, and they can take the training if they'd like to, okay?
That's great.
Very, very
Is
well.
that like a link? Is that like a link to a site that you're gonna send, or?
Yes.
Yes, yes. That's
Okay.
exactly. I'm with you, Jeff.
You could do it on your iPhone, or you could do it, or your smartphone, or you could do it on the computer. Either way works.
Yep.
Thanks.
That's my issue. Questions?
Any questions from the commissioners? Dan, thank you. The your report was very thorough and really appreciate your hard work, so thank you.
Thank you very much.
Go ahead, Mike, you still have the floor.
Okay, it's not something that I really want to talk about too much, but you got to do what you got to do. As you know, we bought that semi-cab to haul the sludge, and I told you that we needed these trailers, and I don't know, there was a memo, maybe I could find it here, about what we were allowed to spend, and we spent less than that on the trailers. But unfortunately, after we got these trailers back over here to the sanitary district, it turned out that they really weren't in the shape that we thought they were when we purchased them, and they were going to require a significant amount of work to get them back in operation, and maybe just too much work completely. So I think we're running out of time here now, because the land application season is going to start here October, November for sure. And instead of going with something used that might have some problems, I think I'd like to get the board's approval to purchase a new trailer that we shouldn't have any issues with. We've done a bunch of research, and we found a pretty good price on this one that I put in the packet today. It's a 2020 Neville 26-foot dump for $39,900. I talked to the guy that was selling it today, and he said he could bring it down, since we're a governmental agency, down to $35,075. It would be $1,400 to get it. They're located out of Winnemac, but maybe we could get the $1,400 to bring it here to Michigan City. So I guess that I'm just asking the board for approval to move forward with maybe purchasing a new dump trailer, so we don't have these issues with structural issues like we have with the two used ones that we purchased.
What are you gonna do with the used ones?
Well,
Sure, Jeff.
we actually have two people already that have approached us for purchasing them to maybe use, just not going over the road, but to use them on their facility sites. Purchase them from us. And then also, when I was calling around for these other prices, one of the other companies that I called, the guy seemed to think that he might be interested in purchasing them from us too. Now, I don't have any firm prices or nothing, but that's basically what I'm really looking at right now.
Okay. So are there other questions from the commissioners on this? Okay.
No, I don't have anything.
Thanks, Frank.
Is Scott there?
Kistler?
Scott, you still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Sorry, I had mute speaker, so.
No problem. Just a quick question as far as where that's going to be paid from.
Yeah, it'll be out of the operating fund because it's related to the treatment facility. So I think, yeah, we have the money to pay for it. So,
Thank you.
yeah, if it was coming from refuse, it'd be different. But operating, we actually have some money available, and we might even be able to take it out of either the improvement fund or the equipment replacement fund. So I think we'll be good. So yeah, we do have the money.
Well, I'd like to make a motion for the purchase.
Is there a second?
Jeff will second that if we need it.
Thanks, Jeff. All in favor? Aye. Motion passes.
Thank you. That's all I had.
Do we have the, or do we need to discuss that at all on, the one that you sent over to us, Mike? Alan?
Oh, Alan Briggs, the leave of absence?
Yeah.
I don't think there's too much to discuss. I really don't want to get into the details, but he's got some pretty significant family issues that really he needs to address, and I can just tell you that it's something that Alan's a good man, he really is, and he's got some things that he needs to do with his family and take care of his family and do the right thing for his family. He's got to address them, and he's just not really going to be able to be at work Thursday or Friday, but I wanted to give him, make sure that if he can come back sooner, he can, but so I also put down Monday also for a leave of absence. If he can come back, he'll come back. He might even be able to be back Saturday, work some Saturday to make up some of his time, but he's got some issues he needs to take care of, and I feel very strongly that he needs to go do this work that he needs to do.
I just wanted to discuss with him, and hopefully everything will be well with he and his family. So
good. That's a good comment. He could really use everyone's support right now. Like I said, but he's definitely. Let me just say this: he's definitely doing the right thing. Mr. Smith, if you don't mind, I just thought of something. Maybe I could talk a little bit about the Long Beach public hearing. Would you like me just to summarize that just a little bit?
That would be great, Michael. Thank you.
Okay. We had that.
Just joined the conference.
You're back, Mr. Wright?
Yeah, I accidentally hung up.
We had to we didn't know what we were going to do for the rest of the meeting there while you were gone for a couple seconds, but.
I know, I can't proceed without me.
Okay, the public hearing went well. I want to say, what was it, September 9th, I think was the hearing, and it went very well. In fact, we've got a lot of compliments from a lot of people about how well we structured the meeting and how well we handled the meeting and so forth. I know Jeff participated in the meeting. We received written questions before the meeting and after the meeting, and Haas and Associates has gone through and made written responses to all those questions, not specifically to each question per se, but just in general terms. As you could imagine, when you get 30, 40, 50 questions, the questions and comments are always similar in nature, so they summarize their responses accordingly. We also received, I think it was 67 or 63, comes to mind, questions and comments during the public hearing itself. And we made an Excel spreadsheet up with all of those questions, and then we put the answer that was given at the time during the meeting. We typed in the answer to that, and I have that as a table that's going to go in with the summary of the meeting. Mr. Mauer asked me to prepare the meeting summary, so I did prepare the meeting summary. I have that all done. I sent that to Mr. Meyer for his review. He had a couple edits here and there, and I made those changes. And then all I really need to do now is put together the table 1, I believe, is the response to the written comments that we received, and then table 2 is the response to the comments and questions that were made during the public hearing. And then there's a couple more attachments that are going to go with this summary or need to be included with the updated submittal of the PER. One of those is the resolution by our board approving the preliminary engineering report, or the PER, and one of the other resolutions is where the board authorized me to be the representative. So all in all, it went pretty well. Certainly there's some pushback from a lot of residents who are not wanting the sewer. In general terms, I could say that we did send the town of Long Beach sent a survey out, and it was really received pretty well. It was over 50% of the people actually wanted the sewer, but at that time the cost was estimated significantly less than what the cost is now. So I think that has a lot to do with people's opinion about the project now. It might be almost twice as expensive, or maybe a little more than that even. So that's one thing. And then of course you've got the people that are on the north side of Lakeshore Drive or on the Lake Michigan side of Lakeshore Drive who, need the sewer more than the people that are on the south side of Lakeshore Drive. So there's kind of that little action going on there between those two different types of homeowners. But overall, we will submit the summary to the state of Indiana, and they will either approve us for receiving SRF funds or they won't. And even if they don't approve it, the town of Long Beach could always look for financing the project a different way if they would decide to still move forward. But again, overall, I thought it went pretty well. I don't know if Jeff or Mr. Meyer had anything to add to that. They participated in the hearing.
Yeah, I'll comment on it. I don't know who was all participating from the board, but from my perspective, the sanitary district was represented well. We came across professional looking and kind of looked like we knew, like we had a understanding of what was going on. The only thing I really didn't like about the meeting was I'm a picture-oriented guy, and there was a lot of talking with no pictures and maps. So, but other than that, Haas did do a good job. And my bottom line is, yeah, we looked professional. Michael did a real nice job handling the questions and responses. So those are my comments.
This is Jim. To say that the odds are very, very, very good that SRF funding will be granted, based on my experience over the past 30 years with that type of funding.
Any other questions about the public hearing or anything that I could help answer, or Jeff or Jim?
Okay. Mike, anything else?
No, nothing else. I would just like to say one more thing about that hearing. I really would like to thank the IT department, Andy Metanek, and also Caleb Goodwin. Caleb, as you may or may not know, is kind of like the Zoom meeting guru for Michigan City, and he does such a fantastic job. And the kid works so hard, and he's pulled in so many different directions. And of course, Andy's leadership on that. I know Jeff said we looked professional and did a good job. I've heard comments like that. I think we did good, but we couldn't do it without IT support with Andy and Caleb. So I just would be remiss if I didn't say that.
Okay. Thank you, Mike, and we appreciate the professionalism of our department. We're proud of you guys. You guys do a great job, and so thank you for all your hard work. And Caleb and Andy's on putting that together for us for that meeting.
Okay.
Is there any other business? No. We are adjourned, and I'll ask for a motion for adjournment of our meeting.
So moved, Frank Harris.
Thanks, Frank. A second? I'll have to leave a second. Thanks, Holt. Thank you. Next meeting is October